welcome, financial professionals. My name is Josh Meester, RVP partner here at E4. For those of you who have been joining us through the month of June, also with me, Doug Twiddy, Director of Annuities, welcoming you to the brew, building relationships every week. Thank you for tuning in. And for those of you joining for the first time, as always, we will start with the national days. So today we have two. It is National Wanna Get Away Day. I guess I just think of, wasn't that a Southwest Airlines deal? The second one, National Fishing Day. Dan Peterson, for those who know our president, he might actually just be out of the office today considering it's National Fishing Day, big fisherman. So want to get away, go fishing. There it is. In June, we continue with our annuity focus. It is Annuity Awareness Month. And today we are joined by a partner, Casey Lane. Casey is the Sales Vice President at North American, and he'll be discussing the underutilized WARN Act, W-A-R-N, with your existing clients and specifically 401k opportunities. Casey, we really appreciate you joining Doug and I, and thank you for everybody tuning in. Casey, take it away.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. I love the little tidbits there. That's fun. And yeah, perfect timing. National Annuity Awareness Month. Thanks for having me on. Thank you and Doug for the partnership, and E4 for the partnership. It's been probably one of my longer standing relationships. I've been with the company 26 years now, and I remember way back in the day working with Brendan and the crew. So thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. The timing is perfect for the second National Day as well, because effective Friday, I'll be in Canada doing some fishing for a whole week. So really excited about that. That's why I think we're recording today, because I'm officially off starting tomorrow. So again, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it greatly. I thought I'd start with a quick story as it kind of pertains to my presentation here today. It dates back. It was this year, so it was really early this year. I know I had an IMO that was going to have a conference in April, and in January they start getting all their stuff ready. You know, they're that group that puts together the big binder and has all the agenda items and bios of every speaker. So basically, they wanted a bio or an updated bio for me. Which, like I mentioned, I've been here 26 years. I've been doing the same thing pretty much since day one, so I hadn't really needed to update my bio. But I told my wife, we were sitting on the couch. It was mid-January, sitting on the couch on a Saturday night. I said, you know what? I'll just wipe the slate clean, just kind of start over. Obviously, I'll probably still have a lot of the same information in there, but I'll tweak it just a little bit. So the first line of my bio is Casey Lane started his insurance career as a captive life insurance agent in Cedar Rapids, Iowa in 1993. And as soon as I hit the period, this epiphany, the light bulb just suddenly hit me. And I look at my wife and I'm like, holy cow, honey. I said, I've been in this business 32 years now. I said, when you're in any one industry for 10 years, you've got some tenure. I said, 20 years in any one, you're experienced. I said, 30 years. I go, that's a long time. And she looks me dead cold in the eyes and says, you know what that means, right, honey? And I said, what? And she goes, you're old. And I'm like, what? She goes, you're old. I'm like, you're serious? She goes, well, yeah. What were you expecting? And I go, I don't know. You're knowledgeable, Casey. You're good at what you do. Honestly, all she said was, you're old. I'm like, you didn't have to tell me that. I already knew that, honey. But I share that story with you, not to brag about how long I've been in the business, because I guarantee there's going to be some advisors that listen to this thing that have been in a lot longer than I have. But I share that with you because I have been in for a while. I've been around the block a few times. I've seen a lot and I've heard a lot of great marketing programs, prospecting ideas, value add campaigns, lead programs, right? There's a whole slew of them out there. I don't think any of them are new. Somebody may put their own twist or tweak on one of those. But the thing that most of those have in common is, one, they cost a decent amount of money, most of them, not all of them, and a lot of them cost time. And we don't have too much more time. I mean, time is something we can't get back, right? So a lot of these ideas, and a lot of them work well, but they do cost a lot of time and a lot of money. So today, what I wanted to share is a 401, more or less a 401k focused prospecting idea that revolves around, as Josh mentioned, the WARN Act, W-A-R-N. So that stands for Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. And this has been around since 1988. So it's not anything new. Almost 40 years now. And there's a couple of main reasons that I want to share this idea with you. And Josh, you hit it on your little intro there as well. Number one, it has been around for a long time, but this is probably the most underutilized, unknown prospecting idea that I've ever come across. And I can tell you, I didn't come up with this myself. I mean, most new ideas, or most cool ideas, I haven't come up with. I've heard other agents talk about them. And again, I've heard a lot of agents share a lot of different ideas and prospecting tools. I have not heard an agent themselves specifically bring up this prospecting idea using the WARN Act. So it's underutilized and highly unknown. I've probably done this, not maybe just this presentation, but I've used this idea in a lot of presentations this year, probably I'd say 10 times, whether it was on a webinar or in front. Most of them have been in front of agents live. And when I ask agents, how many of you have heard of the WARN Act? If I'm in a group of, let's say 30 agents, that's probably what these sessions have averaged. Mm-hmm. I might have one person tentatively raise their hand. I've never had 6 or 7 people raise their hand.
They think they know what it might be.
It's just like I've never heard an agent bring it up themselves. It's been around a long time. I'm just really surprised it hasn't kind of, I don't want to say made the rounds, but it's unknown. So I hear crickets very often when I'm live in front of a room. The second reason I want to share this idea is because the opposite of what I said, most other prospecting and campaigns and programs are, this costs an advisor little to no money and little to no time. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I want to make sure we're clear. I'm not telling every agent out there to stop what you're doing, stop your workshops, your educational dinner seminars. Don't stop doing what you're doing. If you're making money, obviously keep doing it. But this might end up being what you do full time for prospecting. I know of a couple agents that were doing workshops, and over the course of time, this just became their number one prospecting marketing tool. And again, costs very little time and very little money. So what happens? High level, oopsie, I skipped one already. High level, when an employer has either a mass layoff or they close shop completely, they are required by law to give those affected employees 60 days notice. So as the name implies, so they can get readjusted, reacclimated, and maybe they need some new training. Maybe they're going to find a new career or a new job. So that the employer has to give them 60 days advance notice of when that either mass layoff or closing is going to happen. Now, there are some specifics when it comes to the mass layoffs. If the employer, if they have less than 100 people, it has to be this percentage, or if they have over 500, it's this. So there are some more minute details about the mass layoffs, but just for time purposes, we won't get into those today. Again, gives the employee time to get reacclimated, adjusted, maybe get some retraining done. So when they make that announcement to the employees, they are required by law to also share and post those details, that information onto their state's workforce development or respective, I don't know if every state calls it a workforce development website, but they are required to post that information on to the workforce development website. And all an agent has to do, and I'm not a techie guy, guys, but as you know, we had some issues earlier in the day preparing for this, but all an agent has to do is go to Google, type in the letters WARN, WARN, and then your state, WARN, Iowa, WARN, California, WARN, Wisconsin, whatever state it is, WARN, and then the state. That will take them to their state's respective workforce development website. And on that first page, there's typically a button that you can push, or you'll see a link for a spreadsheet. Now, what you're going to see is, I've got this kind of on the screen here. You're going to see what is required is they're going to have to list the name of the employer, the address of the employer, the city, the number of affected or impacted employees, the date of that mass layoff or closing, and then the industry that employer is a part of, whether it's finance, banking, manufacturing. Obviously there's a whole variety. So typically, I know in Iowa, I think when I went on the Iowa website last time, I think it went back about 5 years. I don't know if each state might be different. Some states may only go back 3 years, 2 years, 6 months. But just type in Warren and the name of the state. And again, you'll get a listing, whether it's on a spreadsheet or a PDF type file, of all of those employers that have gone through, again, mass layoff or closing in the preceding 3, 4, 5 years. Now, unfortunately, what they don't list, this would make this real fun and easy, is they don't list the names, addresses, phone numbers, and 401k balances of those affected employees. That would make this a real easy. I would probably hazard to say that this would be a much more utilized tool if it listed those things. So unfortunately, that's not the case. But the whole point is, obviously, most employers, large and small, offer a 401k plan. So obviously, if we're leaving employment, typically we like to leave on our own terms, but in situations where the Warren Act comes into play, we're forced to leave, but we still have to do something with our 401k. Now, whether that's into an annuity right away, maybe the client's a little older, the employee's a little older, maybe an annuity fits perfect. If the agent has the ability, their IAR, they can do some AUM business. Maybe initially you can roll some into AUM, and then down the road, when they're ready for an annuity, moving into an annuity. But whether it's an annuity or AUM, the idea is that the agent is gathering assets and new clients. And who knows what else that might lead to. Might lead to, oh, my grandfather just retired. I mean, you never know what that might lead to, even if the client or the employee is 30 years old, or no matter how old they are. So how can you, or how can an advisor use this information then to prospect and find potentially new clients? Again, the employer doesn't list the names of those impacted, and the agent more than likely themselves probably doesn't have a client that was affected, but I bet they have a client, an existing client, that knows somebody that will be impacted or affected by that mass layoff or that closing. But so all the agent has to do, and this is one way to utilize this, and this is the easiest way to utilize this and the least expensive way, is if I'm an advisor, and I see that, did I skip a screen, guys? I did. I want to apologize. I didn't skip this one, but I did have a screenshot of the Iowa Warren site. So I highlighted Tyson Foods. This happened 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. I'm sorry, almost a year ago. I remember in the paper, I'm the guy on the block that gets the hard copy paper still today, every morning. It's amazing. I can't go, I bet, every 2 days, maybe every 3 days at the most, before I see an article on, hey, Tyson Foods is closing, or John Deere is having a mass layoff, and they mentioned the Warren Act. So, I mean, it's not something that's hidden, but I guess, again, if you're an agent and you don't get the physical paper, and maybe if you subscribe to it digitally, you would see it. But again, I see it probably every other to every 3 days. But I remember when the Tyson food plant in Perry closed, the town of Perry, I want to say, has 8,000, 9,000 residents, 1,275, and not everyone lived in Perry, of course, but most of the 1,275 that were affected lived right there in Perry. And it was a closing. It wasn't a mass layoff. It shut down. So I guarantee you, yeah, it was big news for sure. It's interesting. I think they just had an article in the paper that a new manufacturing plant is coming in and kind of taking over the building or buildings, and are expected to hire like 800 people for similar type work. So kind of a blessing in disguise. But 1,276 affected. If I tell you what, if I live anywhere near Perry's 45 minutes from Des Moines, which is the capital and biggest city in Iowa, I guarantee most agents that are around this area have a client that worked for Perry or worked for Tyson Foods or knew somebody that worked for Tyson Foods. Absolutely. So the easiest thing to do is get on your computer. Again, I'm not a techie guy, but I know how to send emails off. Just send off an email to your existing clientele. You're probably already doing some drip mailings and things like that. Just add an email to your clients. And I've got some language up here that I think I stole partially from an agent that was using this thing. So he kind of started his off with, hey, I assume you heard that the Tyson plant is closing next month. Hopefully you don't have any friends or family that will be impacted. However, if you know of anyone that will be, just, please share my contact info with them or vice versa. As you know, I'm an exiting employee specialist and would be more than happy to assist with their transition, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the key term in there, and I really, this struck a chord, is when this agent specifically referenced himself as an exiting employee specialist. Doesn't really have to mean anything.
That jumped out to me too.
Yeah, I mean, SVP has it's a title, right? It doesn't mean a darn thing here, right? Same thing, exiting employee specialist. Call yourself what you want, the 401k king or something, but exiting employee specialist, I think, just has a, I know what you're going through. This isn't going to be a fun time. I'm here for you, whether it's financially or anything else. So that's one way that I know some agents have utilized this, is just send an mass email off to the existing clients. You may have 200 existing clients, 500 existing clients. All it takes is one to say, oh yeah, by the way, my aunt, my uncle, my neighbor, he's affected. He's been there 25 years. He doesn't know what to do. I mean, and we all know, just based on statistics today too, most people don't have a financial plan, a financial planner, an advisor. So odds are they're probably not working with somebody. They might have their P&C agent, right? Or maybe they have a guy that sold a life insurance policy to them when they had their first kid, 30 years ago. But most people don't have a planner, an advisor, and an agent. So that's one way. The other way I've heard, I think I shared this with you guys too. This was a little more, I don't know if I can use that word. I was going to say a word, but a little more upfront, not Casey style. I know one agent that said, you know what? He goes, I tried this once. He goes, I went ahead, the plant that closed down, it wasn't a huge plant. And they didn't have like a security guard or anything like that. It was just, there's the employee parking lot right there. He said he went in and just put flyers in everybody's window. Sorry to hear about the plant closing. If you need any financial advice, I'm here for you. Just something plain and simple. Now, that costs a little more than a mass email, but again, printing off, 200, 150, whatever flyers, isn't going to cost a whole heck of a lot. So that's another way.
I'd maybe call that just a little more of an aggressive approach.
Yes, aggressive was the word, but I was going to use something that's round and bounces but anyway, yes, that was definitely a little more aggressive, probably a little more aggressive than what Casey would want to do. But the other thing, and I don't have a slide on here, but let me just fast forward real quick. I shared this with our sales team here. We have a Tuesday morning, we have a sales, and there's probably 150 people on the Zoom call, Teams call. It's sales, it's marketing, it's new business, it's client services. But every Tuesday we have wholesaler insights, and one of us wholesalers shares just, hey, what's working, what have we heard out there, whether it's something an idea of ours, or we heard it from an agent or a marketer. And I shared this on my last one, which was probably a month and a half ago, is the last time I did mine. And one of our agent facing wholesalers that works directly with the agent field selling to the clients, they were brainstorming, and the agent came up with an idea, and I don't have all the details yet, but he talked about putting on maybe a job fair with other employers in the area of where that closing or mass layoff is. Just rent out a hotel room and pay for a booth for 3 or 4 other employers in the same kind of industry, possibly. Job fair opportunity. Again, I don't have all the details. That might cost a little more than you're putting flyers in the windshield, but I think there's a lot of other ways that agents can utilize this as a prospecting idea. And I love numbers. Numbers don't lie, and I don't have official statistics here, so I did want to just share some numbers as it pertains to kind of the opportunity that's out there for this. And I think these numbers are pretty conservative. You guys may agree or disagree, but let's assume that an agent finds 4 employers over the course of the year in their working area, whether it's 20 miles outside of where they live or 60. But let's assume they find 4 employers that have either a mass layoff or a closing. And let's assume that agent finds 5 new clients from each of those 4 employers. And let's assume also that the 401k balance of all of those 20 people is $50,000. Some are going to be substantially more, some are going to be substantially less. Well, let's assume $50,000 as the assumption. And I don't know about you guys, I'm not a math major, all right? I didn't major in math, but if my math is correct, that would equate to $1 million of annuity business over the course of a 12-month period. And if you're talking 6 to 7.5% comp, you're talking $60,000 to $75,000 of additional revenue. And what did it cost that agent to find that additional revenue? Again, depending on how evolved and eclectic you get with this idea, it could cost little to absolutely nothing for another $1 million of annuity production. And the other nice thing about this thing is I kind of compare it to the 403B market. How are we doing on time, guys? Are we doing okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick story about my sister, sister-in-law, who is a teacher, and she's been a teacher now for 23 or 4 years. And I remember when she was, it was at least 10 years into her teachership or whatever you call it. I asked her, so who do you have your 403B with? Who are you doing your 403B with? And she looked at me like, the hell, what is it? What's a 403B? I'm like, a 403B, it's a opportunity you have as a teacher that I don't have as just a public employee. She's like, I have no idea, or private employee. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, you've been teaching for 10 years and you don't know what a 403B is? So my point here is, what was my point here? I'm trying to think of where I was going with this. I know my point is. So once she knew or learned what a 403B was, what did she do when she was at school? She'd be, hey, do you guys know what a 403B is with her fellow teachers? She'd talk, and I don't remember the number, but I bet a third or a fourth of them didn't have any idea what a 403B is. So an agent, my point here is, once you help a client or once you help a prospect during this transition, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to be calling up the guy that sat in the cube next to him or that was on the line with them, right? Hey, by the way, if you need some help, I got a guy that can help you out. I mean, this becomes a great referral source as well. And that's why I said I don't expect anybody to just use this right away and stop what they're doing. But once you get into this a little further, you just may end up using this as your full prospecting, find new clients idea. So that's the idea. That's the tool. That's the idea. We got a couple of tools as well here at North American. I'm sure you guys, E4, you probably have some marketing materials too, but we've got a couple of nice pieces on 401k rollovers, just kind of the do's and don'ts, maybe some tax information in there too about, under 59 and a half, et cetera, et cetera. But we do have some marketing tools that agents can use as well along the way to share with these clients. So again, guys, I'm surprised when I ask people how many have heard of the Warren Act. It's crickets. It blows my mind. To me, there's a reason I'm on this side of the fence too. I should have started with that. There's a reason I'm on this side of the screen and not like the agent side. It sounds pretty simple, pretty easy to me. I mean, what's a blast email going to hurt? Your clients probably enjoy hearing from you anyway, and they may know a guy that knows a guy. So hopefully all it takes is one. And advisors can get some utilization out of this and find some new prospects and even some referrals along the way.
Well, I think the conversation is a lot more than just even a 401k. That seems like an easy one, but some of these people that are getting laid off are going to have a pension, right? And while I know that doesn't necessarily lead towards an annuity for Annuity Awareness Month, it is something that people need to figure out what they're going to do with, whether they're going to claim a certain strategy, whether we can utilize the pension max process that we have, or maybe they take the lump sum and throw it into an annuity for lifetime income, right? You're going to have people that want to have a conversation about what debt should they pay off, right? People that need health insurance now. So there's lots of different problems that people are going to need solving. And I didn't prepare ahead really, but I just wanted to share, if I can share the right screen. Just out of curiosity, right? I went in and, as you said, typed in Warren Act, Minnesota, Warren Act, Wisconsin, right? And right here at the top, when I click on it, obviously I've clicked into here now, but down at the bottom, I saw the Warren notices. I didn't know what I was looking for, just winging it, right? Clicked on Warren notices, and I see all these companies. And when I opened them up, I get the letter that shows dates and an address and details.
Client
Right?
names, 401k balance. No, darn it. Still can't get that
it might be in
information.
here. It might be there.
Keep digging, Doug. Keep
And then I
digging.
went to layoff summary report, and I noticed you can subscribe. I don't know if that's in all the states, but in Minnesota you can subscribe, and I'm assuming that means they're going to give you an email once a month
Some
with
notification.
layoffs, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when we just open one? This is basically what you were just sharing. This is real current data, though, right? 189 employees are being laid off from a closing at whatever this company is in St. Paul, and the layoffs are going to start on 6/16.
Week less
I mean,
than a week.
that's a good option right there to just start reaching out to, or you can reach down to 66 here. Right, and that was just one. I don't know what the rest of these look like because I haven't clicked on them. I mean, there's 57, 101, 72. That's a lot of people right there in the state that you're looking for. And went to Wisconsin. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different, but I scrolled down and there's notices, right? 61 people in whatever that city is, 104 in Milwaukee. Those are great opportunities, as you said, to just shoot out an email. And it doesn't have to be an email about this one company of layoffs. Maybe it's an email about a couple of companies. Maybe one is right down the street and you want to go throw some business cards or small flyers on windows, depending on the type of advisor you are. But I think you're right. If you can get yourself in with a couple of people, right, show some people the quality that you can bring, right, the solutions that you can provide to help them in that situation, I can't imagine that doesn't turn into more phone calls.
The thing I like about the mass email to the existing clients is you already have trust established with that person, and the now newly laid off person is going to be like, okay, well, I trust you because we're friends, and if you trust this person, why wouldn't I take a call from them, or why wouldn't I set up a meeting with them? So it's a little different than putting the flyers right on the. I mean, like, who's this guy? You know, if I saw one of those like I do today, if I see a flyer on my windshield, I'm like, whatever. But again, all it takes is one person. All it takes is one. So but that's good. I'm glad you did that example, Doug, because if you hadn't really done much for preparation, you just went in. Look how easy it was for you to find those just like that. You didn't have to go through 16 prompts to get to the right thing. It was right there.
Yep, nice and easy.
Yeah,
I like the idea.
And the thing I would just maybe cap this off as we close up, I had done the same thing. I'm predominantly, my advisors are in Wisconsin. Sure, some in Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, bigger areas, but plenty of smaller towns, Spencer, Oconomowoc, wherever it may be. And when I jumped out to Wisconsin's site, honestly, I didn't know what to necessarily expect. I try to track the news, but don't follow everything. So I was like, what am I going to see? The last time this big plant closed, was it 3 years ago? Was it however long? Nope, sure enough. I mean, it was literally March, April, May, and there's multiple in each month. And I was just kind of astounded at the information and the data sitting right in front of me, because I know just personally, I have advisors all over this area. And when you really drill down to more of the smaller town, kind of going back to your example, Casey and Perry, our advisors they're rubbing shoulders with these people if they know it or they don't. And if they have a good book of business, like many of our advisors do, they're going to be able to thread that line and figure out who knows who. And again, we've said it multiple times, it only takes one before it truly can spread like wildfire. And obviously we love annuities if it's the right solution. But at the end of the day, we really appreciate you coming on, Casey, because this is more of a broader spectrum idea and tool that everybody has access to. Fact of the matter is, we just don't think many people are actually looking at it. So hopefully anybody listening can jump out, maybe dip your toe in the water, shoot that client email out to everybody and see what happens. We all know it's very easy to shoot a canned email to 200 clients. So it's not like if you want to take the time to do a personal message to everybody, fine. But, it's easier than that. So again, Casey, we appreciate the time and jumping on. As we wrap up, I'd like to remind everybody that today's brew and our entire library are recorded. We post everything on E4's website, www.e4.insurance. We also post this on our YouTube page, so if you jump out there, feel free to subscribe. This brew and all brews are released on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central. Next week on the brew, Doug and I will be discussing lifetime income features and how these solutions can benefit clients not only financially, but also physically. It has been proven that financially secure people tend to live longer. Everybody's heard the happy wife, happy life. Not if you run out of money. I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but as long as you love each other, everything should be fine. But using lifetime income solutions can definitely ease your clients' stress and allow them to enjoy the time they've worked their entire lives for. So again, thank you, Casey. Thank you for everyone for tuning in and listening. We'll see you next week on The Brew.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.